Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to the There's No Crying in Crochet podcast. We are the podcast where we try to take your everyday crochet frustrations and give you some answers. I am Biz from Bizzy Crochet, and this is my friend
Deb from MadameStitch.
Yes, and we are here every Friday at 1 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Eastern to talk about it all. So, oh, I missed that. But welcome to There's No Crying in Crochet. I am always one step behind everything. So we both are on YouTube. And if you are on YouTube as well, my page is Bizzy Crochet and Deb's is MadameStitch Crochet. And we are both trying to put out new information for you all the time. Please excuse my nose. And I know that Deb's got a lot of tutorials and things coming out. So make sure that you are following both of us. And if
I'm trying to get caught up on all of those things that I've released that didn't have tutorials, and now, kind of doing it the backward way, but I'm going to get caught up.
That's okay. They're still making it on there. So
yeah.
But if you're watching on Facebook, our streaming service, StreamYard, requires permission to display your name so that we can see who you are in the chat. As far as we know, they don't do anything else with it. So if you can, let them know who you are. Mm-hmm. Alrighty, so what have you been doing this week, Deb?
Well, I was catching you up before we got on air about all the extra stuff that has just plopped in my lap without being asked to be there. Yeah. I won't go into the dirty details, but this actually plays really well into our topic for today, where we are 2 weeks out from Christmas.
For sure.
And I have a handle on Christmas gifts. I'm going to do it. I actually have till January to get a couple of them done because those people are going to be out of town. And I have it all worked out in my head. And then Monday, there's something that I wasn't expecting that comes up. And then on Tuesday, there's something that I wasn't expecting that's coming up. Mm-hmm. And then on Thursday, and then today, I'm like, can we just stop? Can we just stop? Let's just crochet, talk about crochet, write up the crochet,
all things
and
crochet.
get the things done.
Absolutely.
Because Deb has had enough. Hi, Dawn.
Yes.
It's good to see you.
Yes, because it all just compiles, and then of course it's this time of year, so it's crazy,
right?
And then it's like I was never so glad to have my being able to set my own schedule as like this week, because like the baby got sick, and so I got to keep her for a day and keep her home from the daycare and stuff like that. So it was really nice it's nice to be able to control your schedule, but sometimes it's like life goes, oh, you think so? And
well, I described it this week, which is not really a very appropriate way to say it, but life threw up all over my schedule this week. It just, and there wasn't a thing I could do about it. But, I usually handle that really well. This week, I'm just going to admit, not so much. Yeah. So Friday, really glad it's Friday. Looking forward to the weekend.
Yeah, it is what it is, for sure. School has finally settled down for me. I did end up dropping one class this particular term to be able to concentrate on the other one and do really well. And I'm doing better. So, it's a little bit less stressful. Alrighty. Dawn is still in her PJs. Hallelujah. That is the way to be, girl. All right. So we are gonna go on and chitty chat about today's topic, which, like you said, everything that we just kind of talked about segues right into
boom
this week. And I forgot to do a banner for it, but we are going to be talking about holiday stress or holiday rest. How do we create an atmosphere of holiday rest in the midst of the holiday stress?
Yeah, it's really tough because when the holiday season, no matter what you celebrate, not only has the unexpected things that come up, but you've got extra activities like get-togethers with friends. We've been to 3 concerts in the last week by choice.
Yeah.
right? So there's all of this extra stuff
Yeah.
going on. And, not to mention making or slash buying the gifts. You've got to make sure all that's done.
Mhm.
It's just a lot in 1 month.
It is. December is like the culmination of the entire year. All of a sudden, it's all right here. But we're going to talk about some of the ways that people become stressed out over the holiday season. And we're going to try and give you some ideas on how to counter that so that you are not so inundated. And some people are just really on top of everything and have everything done. I mean, like today, I'm actually going to start wrapping. I feel like I'm so far ahead. Oh my gosh. I still have things I have to go get, but at least I've got that. But one of the things that we deal with to begin with is time pressure. We feel very under the gun, especially if we are trying to add in little things, because every blog hop that comes out, all the last 10-minute items that you need, make all the things. And you're like, oh, but it's so cute. And I have to make all the things.
Yeah, thankfully I am not enamored with that kind of stuff. When I see that, I go, have fun with that.
God bless America, go
I'll
on.
be over here doing my stuff. Yeah, the deadlines are not just when do you have to have the gifts made to be gifted, but if you have shipping. I was watching the Today Show this morning, and of course, the segment I watched was shipping deadlines. If you have to ship things, I used to send a lot of stuff to Missouri, where I'm from, and I would always have to move that. If I wanted to be there by Christmas, I would have to move that up at least a week and a half, maybe even more, to make sure it got there on time, right?
Yeah. We usually miss
So
Christmas because of that.
yeah, well, it got to be Happy New Year's. So, but you've got not only the yeah, right. Have fun with this in January.
Yes.
But not only do you have the deadline for getting all of your gifts made, getting them all purchased, getting them all shipped, getting them all wrapped. I mean, it's a lot.
Yes, it is. It is indeed. And then for me, when so much is coming at me, I have a tendency to do I can't deal with any of it, and I procrastinate. If I'm in overload,
I'm done.
It's just like I can't deal with any of it. It's gonna have to sit over there until my brain calms down. And then, of course, you're like, oh my God, now I'm so far behind.
I know what you mean.
Snowballing.
Yep. Sometimes I just need that break, though. I'll go ahead and take it and then deal with the consequences later, because mental overload, which we're going to talk about in a moment, is a thing.
It is, for sure. And then you've got on the list here added activities of the season. We don't think about the fact that every cotton picking little thing that happens in the month of December actually takes away from, and of course it's enriching our lives in a different way, but it takes away from that precious crochet time that we have, and project time and all of that stuff. And we of course want to be present. We want to be in the midst of all of that stuff that's going on around us, but then in the back of our mind, I've got to get this thing done.
I'll be out this evening, so that's 2 or 3 hours of crochet. I can't do, it's not. Now the kids' concerts.
Stay up and not die tomorrow.
Well, okay, so that ship has sailed years ago. It's my bedtime is my bedtime. We're not going to mess with it, because tomorrow is not a good day if we do mess with it.
I'm not functioning.
So I just have to deal with it.
That's hilarious. Alrighty. Next thing is project overload. Did you put too much on the list?
Yeah. So I have a story from when my kids were growing up. I believed wholeheartedly in giving the teachers gifts, because they had to put up with my kids all year, right? So we would do Christmas gifts and end of school year gifts. And they were all handmade. There was never one that was just go purchase a potted plant and we're done. One year, I remember sitting behind the couch with all of my stuff because I wanted to see TV. So I
Uh-huh.
spread out all of my supplies and I used to cross stitch. So I made these really cute ornaments,
Yeah.
and then they had to be padded. Then they had to be
Uh-huh.
glued to the base. Then they
Mm,
had to have the ribbon put around them.
Lord.
I got them done, but that was a long night. But
Did
I
you
would do that to
assembly
myself.
line?
Sorry?
Did you create an assembly line?
No, no. The assembly line was me. Okay, that step, that step, that step. No, that was me. Just moving down the couch.
Oh, funny. That is too funny. But I bet you they loved those ornaments. That would be
They
awesome.
did. It was worth it, but boy howdy, I did not do myself any favors.
Well, my one overwhelming story, and I've told it before, is the year that I learned, not the year, but within the year that I learned to knit socks. I decided that everybody
I
in the
could.
family was going to get a pair of socks.
Oh
And again,
my
I'm not
gosh.
I'm not a super fast knitter. I got pretty quick at the socks. But do you know how agonizingly boring a rib knit, 7
I
inches
do.
of rib knit?
Oh,
Oh
I
my
do.
God.
I am well
Oh,
aware.
because
That's why I don't knit socks.
I'm always aching to get to the turn heel and the heel flap and all that stuff, because that's where the counting and the fun and the decreasing and all that good stuff happens. Oh, it was just agonizing. And so 11 pairs. I think I was short 2 pair that
Are
year.
you serious?
Oh, my hands
Oh
hurt
my gosh.
so bad.
Okay, I
I never
bow
want to
at your feet
make another
because
pair of socks in my life ever. I have
oh, that
since
is
then,
awful.
but I'm very picky about which socks that I do. Um, Dawn's got a cute one. Shit, I remember when I was working and the night before Christmas, I was madly crocheting towel toppers. For sure. Oops, I rock. Oh, tell you what, my arms were dead.
Yeah, total respect. But I'm gonna say that if you chose to do that again now, I would have to wonder what's going.
I would have to wonder, am I on some kind of drug? Did somebody put something in my drink?
I would have to call your husband and go, hey, check on Biz
What's
because I
wrong
think
with
she's
her?
lost her mind.
She has lost her mind. As it is, I'm barely making it through a chunky crocheted hat. Now, granted, I decided to take a couple of months off to let my arms heal, my hands heal, and all that stuff. And it's been really hard to pick up a hook and needle again.
Mm.
Like I started a dishcloth, I got halfway through it, and I'm like, I don't want to do it anymore. So I set it aside, and it sits here and looks at me every time I sit down to watch TV. And so I decided I need to make some hats for my friend because she had bought a bunch of yarn that she wanted me to use. And so I started on them. And I'm almost done. So this one I will actually complete today. But it's like, how am I struggling with this? How is this hard? It's one hat. And I didn't make anything
Yes,
for Christmas this year.
but your brain has to be in the mood. So it's
Yeah,
not just your hands are
thank you.
working. Your
Thank you.
brain has to be in the mood, right?
That is a good point.
Mhm.
All right. And so with those project overloads, there you have on here unrealistic expectations. Sometimes we set
Yeah.
expectations for ourselves that are just not achievable.
No, don't decide you're going to make a blanket 2 weeks before Christmas.
Oh,
It's
heavens to
just it
Murgatroyd.
that will not work out well.
No,
It
it'll
just
make you
won't.
very unhappy. Now there are people who can crank out a blanket. I'm saying there are people that they're
That is true.
that fast, or they choose yarn, chunky, whatever, great stitch,
Mhm.
great hook, whatever, and they can put.
Yep.
I'm so sorry, I shouldn't say this. They can put one out in a week, but
You've been spending too much time with the baby.
She has spent too much time. All right. So decision fatigue. What's the most important thing?
Yep.
Which pattern do I want to make? There's so many things out there, and unless your people are like, I specifically want this thing,
Yep.
it can be very, very daunting.
Yeah, I think that's an important one for me. Now, I generally right now I've started just making for my immediate family, so I know their tastes pretty well.
Yeah.
But I when I try to venture outside that small circle, then it's really tough to match the project to that person, and you have to figure out whether they're going to really appreciate it.
Yeah.
You know, I used to make stuff for our wine tasting buddies, and they're really close friends, but they have very specific taste in their decorating.
Mm.
And so I would give them some coasters that they could use in their family room, matched it to their decor.
Yeah.
But you know what? If they don't feel like it matches their decor, they aren't going to use it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I've stopped making things for them, not because I don't love them.
Right.
It's just that, I've decided that my time can be spent better in other things
Oh, for sure.
and give them something that better fits their taste.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I've even gone so far as like I love doing the extra little things. Like you just came up with this really cute little granny square gift
Gift
card
card
hold.
holder. Hmm.
Love doing stuff like that. But there are sometimes I
Hmm.
sit there and I go, do I really feel like making something for that card to go in? I know it's going to be really, really cute. But what are they going to do with this thing after I give it to them?
Right. Well, that's something that would be fabulous to regift. So
Yeah.
you wouldn't feel upset if
Yeah.
they gifted that to someone else because
Well,
that's what its purpose is.
true. That's very true and a very good point to bring up because some of those ones that you make that like a little bag, you could also put them on your Christmas tree like an ornament too later.
Right? That could be a very cute ornament as well. That's true.
But yeah, let's go on to budget constraints. This
Oh, well, there
creates
you
quite a
go.
bit of stress over the holiday season because we've got Christmas presents we're buying, we've got family we're taking care of, we've got food we have to purchase, we've got all the fancy things and all the fancy to-dos and do we need a new Christmas dress? Do we need a new Christmas outfit? All of that stuff.
Or if you're like me and in the last 3 weeks you've had to buy a new dishwasher and
Oh
a new
God.
refrigerator,
Yes.
talk about budget constraints.
And now
Um,
all of a sudden that fancy yarn I was going to buy, well, I guess it's going in the dishwasher. Not this
let's
time.
see what's in the stash because that's where we're shopping this year.
Yeah.
And Lordy knows, I mean, I'll go this way. It's not like I don't have plenty of yarn there, but I swear it's never the color or the weight I need. I swear to
color,
you, it's the
the
most
weight,
amazing thing.
It is never.
Well, okay. I use worsted weight all the time, right? All the time. How is it possible that in a period when I'm trying to bring more color to my designs in my crochet, that I have all dark browns and all black?
Oh my
What
God.
is that? What is happening here?
Well, it's because
Oh,
you've been using the cute colors that you've been purchasing.
I
But I
guess.
completely understand. For whatever reason, there was one year, I think it was last year, when we did the memories blanket. And
Hmm.
we were determined to just use the stash that we had and I decided it was going to be a stash buster for me. And I was trying to pull stuff together to make this, cohesive look. And I'm like, wow, almighty, I got a lot of off-white, I got a lot of brown, I got a lot of green, I got a lot of fall colors. Like, what have I made in the last year that had so much
Yeah.
fall colors in it? Because that's all my stash was. So I guess I'm making a fall blanket. So
Yeah. Well, I cheated and didn't use my stash. I bought yarn, but I used it all. So now I still have all dark brown and all black, which if you know anything about taking photographs, those are not colors you want to make your projects out of
no,
if you want to see what the stitch is in the photograph.
here's what you do. You use all the browns and the blacks up for your guy presents. Get it, purge
Yeah.
it from your stash, and then you're like, oh my gosh, I have to buy some new colors.
I made it all for you, so now I have to buy some stuff. I like that.
I
Except when you have to
love
buy
it so
appliances.
much.
Oh,
I sacrificed my stash for you.
yeah, right.
They know better. They know better.
Yeah, my husband goes, that package was yarn, wasn't it? Well, it's for a Christmas present. Oh, yeah. Okay, sure.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll go with that.
I
It
I
is.
tend to I don't really buy yarn very often, and a lot of times I have to send my husband to the store. Like he's coming home from work, you might as well just swing by Hobby Lobby, just pick up what I need. That way, we can just make it easy. But if I do have to order, he'll bring this stuff in the house and be like, "What did you get? How much did you get? This thing weighs a ton." Because if I'm gonna buy stuff, I usually will, buy a good stash worth. Oof. Anywho, all
And
right. So
shipping costs. We've completely
shipping,
glossed over that. We used to have to, because I remember sending things to my mom
yes.
outside of Kansas City, and those shipping costs, it starts to add up.
Well, it's even worse
God
now.
forbid you should wait till the last minute.
Yes.
Oh,
I had my friend send a package to me from New York to here, and it had a blanket and some extra yarn and a pillow in it, and it cost over $65 for just like a 12
I'm
by 12 by 12.
not surprised.
It's just ridiculous.
Well,
All right.
yes, Dawn, I do the free shipping as well, but when you're
Oh yeah.
yeah, I
When
always do the
you're
free
sending
shipping if
it,
I can possibly, right? But sending it,
yeah.
the post office is not a fan of, could I have free shipping
I know.
today? And they go,
I am a really great
no,
customer.
really, that's not, I do a lot of business with
I do.
you.
I
So
send
could
a
I?
lot of packages through you.
They go, no, that'll be $65.
Right, exactly. So moving right along, creative
Yeah,
burnout.
yeah. Oh gosh.
Where I'm at right now is just creative
Well,
burnout.
okay, so Dawn, you said you were working through the night before Christmas on matching towel toppers, right?
Mhm.
I remember one Christmas, we've all done it.
Yeah.
Whatever holiday you're making for, we've all done it. Where I was knitting a garter stitch scarf out of boucle weight yarn.
Oh Lord.
So it was super simple, right? Just the same stitch all over and over. Well, I ended up spending all night Christmas Eve and all day Christmas so that I could give it Christmas afternoon. I did it. Don't recommend it because
No.
I don't think I wanted to pick up needles or hook for a long time.
Mm-mm. No,
But
it wears you out.
yeah, I did not enjoy crochet and knitting after that for a while.
Well, I know a lot of people personally take like January and February, sometimes all of February off
Yeah,
just to recover from all of the either they do markets or they sell online or they just do it for gifts, but they're
yep,
so crocheted out. Like I don't want to touch yarn or hook
yeah.
or needle for at least a month.
Well, what I do to get over my creative burnout in January is I pick up something completely different from what I've been making.
Yeah.
So I this January, well, I've already made the sweater, but I'm going to be doing a sweater cal with a friend of mine, and so we're going to be doing sweater all January.
Oh,
So
fun.
something for you, or I've gotten into making hats. I'm not giving them for Christmas, so I might start playing around with hats. So I do something completely different from what I've been doing for Christmas, and that helps get me kind of over the hump.
Yes. And I keep saying, I want to learn how to macrame. I really need to just buckle down and teach. I want to learn how to do peyote beading and I want to learn how to macrame. And I really need to just
Ooh.
learn, like focus on something else because that helps my creative juices in other areas. All of a sudden my brain goes, ooh, what if I did this? Or ooh, what if I did that? Alrighty. So another thing that a lot of makers deal with, and you had kind of alluded to it with your story about making for your friends, is the fear of disappointment. Like when we make
Mhm.
stuff for people, just the oh my gosh, are they going to like it? Can suck
Yeah,
all of the joy out of a
yeah.
project and create a lot of stress. Um, I hate I hate making blind projects for people. Um,
Mm.
in the past, I've been asked to I need you to design a sweater, and I
Oh
did it,
gosh, that would drive.
but they didn't give me any measurements. They just, and it was the most stressful 6 to 8 weeks of my life. I think I actually lost years, off of them because I was so stressed out over, and it was
Mhm.
nonstop for 6 weeks having to make this because it was a
Yeah.
huge project. And I didn't enjoy it at all. And
Yeah.
that was literally the straw that broke the camel's back, and I decided I don't do commissions anymore.
Yeah, yeah, that's hard. I
Period.
think for me, we as crocheters, whether we do this as a business or we do it for fun all the time,
Mhm.
when we make something for someone else, we put our heart and soul into it.
Oh yeah.
Every stitch means something to us, right? We know, and we don't really expect anything in return, but
Mhm.
it is disheartening when you don't get that, "Oh my gosh, this is fabulous" reaction when you
Yeah.
gift it, right?
Or any
So
response at all.
right, they just open it and that's it. Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
No, that has actually happened to me recently this year.
oh gosh.
Yeah, and still haven't heard a word. Whatever. You know it.
No.
It's okay.
No. Oh my gosh. I remember, years ago, I made baby blankets, just simple granny square baby blankets for triplets
Uh-huh.
that are kind of in our tangential family,
Uh-huh.
extended family. And I gifted them at Christmas time because the babies were preemies and they were born in October. So I was gifting them at Christmas.
Sure.
And I handed the bag. The bag was taken. I wasn't allowed to even go near the babies. And I'm not sure I received a photo of the babies using the blankets, but
Yeah.
there was never a, "Gosh, thanks for putting that effort in." And so that was it.
Well, and quite honestly, I've gotten to a place because I know that the younger generation, it's like they don't know how to do thank yous and thank you cards and things like that a lot of times. Depends on how you were raised. But like I am on my kids. You thank people, you text them, you whatever, you or send them a card. My daughter still has to send out her thank you cards for her shower, but I said, the holiday season is there's no better time to send out a card.
Yep.
So
There
we're
you
gonna work
go.
on that the next couple weeks because everybody deserves a thank you. Especially if you've
Yes.
worked hard on something. This particular project, um, I I I do watch the pictures of this particular family to see if I can see it in it's nowhere to be found.
Oh gosh. Oh,
Not,
that's so
I was like,
disheartening.
you know what? Okay. Okay. That's all right. That just tells me where I fit in the grand scheme of things, and I'm okay with that. At least I know.
Well, you definitely adjust your expectations and your priorities when that happens. And
For
it's a little sad, but it's not that big of a deal. You just adjust and
Yep.
learn something from that, and we're done. Moving on.
Yep, absolutely. All right, so that's kind of like recipient reaction is what we were talking about for fear of disappointment, but you have on here skill anxiety. That is another really good point to bring up because a lot of times we can choose a project or somebody asks us to make something that is just a hair outside of what we're normally
Yep.
used to doing, or it's way outside of our comfort zone. And that can cause a lot of stress. Like the sweater that I made,
Yeah,
holy smoke,
absolutely.
never again.
Yeah. Will it be good enough?
Yes, absolutely. I'm sorry, I'm just catching up on the chitty chat in the comment section. Um,
Oh,
but physical strain is a huge stressor over the holidays. The hands,
right.
the tendons,
Yeah.
the elbows. I found my oh god,
Shoulders,
yes.
neck, right? I try really hard to sit straight up. I have, because of my performing background and because I taught voice lessons for so many years, and the whole premise behind it is proper body alignment. So
Yeah.
I'm I'm the one sitting around the table properly sitting
Sitting
up
straight.
straight, but I try in my recliner not to get sucked into that curled slump, because that's when I really, or looking down at my lap all the time. I try to prop my arms up on the arms of the chair and bring my crochet up to a height where I'm not looking down at it with my neck all the time.
Well, and there is something called tech neck, which is,
Yeah,
everybody is looking down at their phones. There is a
right.
problem that's happening
Get
at
a
the base
bump.
of your neck. Yes,
Yep.
and so there are exercises that you can do, but I get migraines because of tech neck.
Do
It's
you?
like I have to start paying attention to what I'm doing, and I really
Oh.
want to get one of those massagey dooflockies that goes on your shoulders. I've seen
Mhm.
them all
Yep.
over Facebook and Instagram and stuff like that, and I really want one of those now, because that would be really nice to just be able to release that.
Mhm.
And Stephanie, my daughter, she works with babies all day, and she gets a pinch
Oh
in the she's
gosh.
always had that problem ever since she was young.
Right?
That
Yeah.
would be great too.
My husband got me years ago, got me a cloth. It's like a big worm, and it's filled with beads that you heat up in the microwave, and
Wow.
it's scented with lavender. So
Yes.
you heat it up in the microwave, and then you make sure you don't overheat it, right? You wrap it around your neck. Yeah. Where'd you get that burn? Oh, I was trying to relax. Well, how'd that work out for you?
Yeah.
But yeah, just putting it over those traps right there
Yeah.
is just so important, and it really does help. But all kinds of stuff like that, and not taking care of yourself. The other thing that I've tried to do during the holiday rush is go to my exercise classes. I was so tempted this morning to hit cancel because I have to make the reservation on an app.
Uh-huh.
But I'm determined I'm not going to do that just to get some extra time. I
Yes.
want to get out and move and, just fresh air and all of that kind of stuff, because that's kind of self-care that really helps me, is keep moving.
Well, that and when you take care of yourself and you actually, it feels like it's taking away from everything we have to do, but it's actually making us more able to participate in everything that's coming up,
Mhm.
with the parties and the concerts and the meals and having to make a lot of things. If we're pouring into ourselves, we have more to pour out.
Yep. Yep, I
All right.
agree.
Yeah. Let's see, physical strain, and then last but not least,
Last one.
holiday chaos causes
Yeah,
lots of.
I hate the fact that we feel like it's chaos, but it's because it's outside our normal routine, so many
Right.
extra things. And it I think this is a mindset. I realize we're on the go all the time. That's great, but uh, for me, it's just a mindset. Oh, I'm going to go to that and really enjoy it. And yes, I'm going to have to give up crochet time that evening, but the
Uh,
payoff is I get to be with my family, or I get to see a great performance, or I get to do something that I don't normally get to do. So
yes.
for me, it's a mindset thing.
Well, and the memories go so much further than the physical item.
Hmm.
Yes, you can make the thing and gift the thing, and they may or may not keep it forever. They may or may not put it in a Goodwill. Who knows? But the fact that you showed up and were a part of their life, or that means more in the end.
Right.
And if we just remember to keep our priorities in line, as far as like people over things, relationship over
People
things.
over things. Yeah,
Uh,
I agree.
you've got on here competing responsibilities, balancing your crochet projects with other holiday activities like shopping and cooking and decorating, and that really, falls into that line we were just talking about. But I like also that you've got interrupted time, finding quiet,
Yeah,
uninterrupted time to work on your
right.
projects amid, like setting aside a specific time for yourself.
Yeah, I love to have quiet time with my crochet because for me, my crochet, for the most part, is restorative.
Uh,
Yes, I have deadlines to get those Christmas gifts done, but that's a mindful time for me. So I try to make sure that I'm not, just trying to cram it in like I'm making dinner. I've got this few minutes. Let's go crochet a few minutes. No, let's focus on making dinner and then focus on sitting
yeah,
and relaxing with my crochet
yeah.
and trying not to mix everything up because then I'm in five different directions at once.
That's a really good point to make is everything in its place, in its season, at its time.
Mhm.
Because we can, like you said, oh, let me just grab that project. I've got a couple of minutes here, blah blah blah. Well, what happens if you get so involved in that that you burn whatever you were cooking, or we
Or
don't
you
want
have to frog what you crocheted because you weren't
right,
paying attention. Well,
exactly.
that's
You
not going to work.
pay giving whatever you're doing your full attention so that you can
Mhm.
do the very best where you're at will actually reduce the amount of stress that you are dealing with because you're
Yeah.
not having to repair mistakes or you're not having to throw out food that you didn't want to throw out because you burnt it. That kind of
Yep.
stuff.
Yep. I agree.
Um Alrighty. So I think that we've kind of hit the end of, you know, ways of dealing with stress. Um One of the things that I think you're really, really known for, Debbie, is that mindfulness in crochet. And do you have any tips that you would add to what we talked about concerning, projects over the next couple weeks? What would you say to everybody?
Well, I'm a planner. I plan my time. I have a set routine that I have every day. I start my day with crochet and I end my day with crochet. That's a personal choice,
Mhm.
but it's one that helps me ease into my day with my cup of coffee. I'm usually working on less complicated projects in the morning just because my mind isn't all there
Gut thing.
yet.
Yeah.
And so I work myself into my day and I end my day with it because for me, crochet above all else is what I've chosen to help me deal with stress.
Mm,
So when it starts to become stressful, when I have a deadline that I have to meet and I'm having trouble meeting it,
yeah.
then it starts to be stressful. So I try to avoid putting myself in situations like that. So for me to keep it mindful, I think that really paying attention to the level of projects that you've chosen, the number of projects you've chosen. What little things can you do for the special people in your life that still show them you care with something you love so much to do that, they don't need a big thing to
Mm,
know that you care about them. So managing my expectations, being willing to pivot. I mean, if I get to a place where I know I'm not going to get something done, I'll either just give them a picture of it at Christmas and say, look what you have to look forward to, or I'll pivot and do something small
yeah.
and save that big thing for later when I know I can get it done. So for me, it's just having a time each day when I know I can count on crocheting, whether it's different from when I usually do or whether it's the same time every day. And then managing my expectations. What am I going to be able to get done today?
Yeah.
And just not push myself. It's just not worth it
Yeah.
with crochet.
Yeah. And there are people who I know there was one Christmas where we didn't have any money and all I had was yarn, and so for my kids I made everything, and they were teenagers. So I thought that I was failing my kids by
Oh my
not
gosh.
having hand bought gifts, or not hand bought but purchased gifts and all this stuff. To this day my kids tell me that was the best Christmas ever, Mom. And all I did was I made each of them an ornament or two. I made them something that they could wear, slippers, that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
My daughter, like a fashion scarf and hat or whatever. I mean, they were just
Yeah.
some cute things. It was very, very simple Christmas. But
Mhm.
just remember that You don't have to be big and fancy for it to
Mhm.
mean something. A simple ornament alone that maybe
Right.
is something they enjoy, because there is a bazillion patterns out there for
I was I
ornaments.
was gonna say, yeah, in fact, one of my closest friends is running a free new ornament every day for
Yes,
12 days. A completely different pattern
yes,
for a simple ornament every day. I think we underestimate the power of crochet,
yeah,
the impact it has. I don't underestimate the impact it has on me,
yeah,
um, because I've fully embraced that. But I think we underestimate the power it has for other people. The
yeah,
fact, if they really understand how much of yourself you put into the crochet that you do,
yeah,
then they understand the value of even the smallest of crochet projects.
yeah, for sure. And Dawn, she says, I crochet
Mm.
amigurumi for
Oh,
Big Brother
that's fabulous.
Thanksgiving. Been doing it. That sounds like so much fun, you know?
Yeah, it does.
Just being able to do small things like that, that it brings joy to you, it brings joy to them.
Mhm.
um just remember where your joy is. Don't worry about whether or not it's enough,
Right. It
because
is
whatever you
always
put
enough.
yourself into is enough.
It is
You
enough.
are enough.
Boy, that sounds like a conclusion to a fabulous podcast episode, doesn't
Doesn't
it?
Alrighty, so not to flippity flop, but we are yeah, basically at the end of our information for this week. Just remember to enjoy your projects, and
Mhm.
um
Enjoy the season.
for sure. And if you have any, you know that if you have any questions, reach out to us. We will try to help you as much as we can. Alrighty, but we are going to talk about what have you been watching this week. You
Well, let's
haven't
see.
watched nothing.
Well, the only evening I haven't been home this week is Wednesday night because my grandson had a school concert, so I went to that. And no, I did not take my crochet, although it was very tempting, but I did not because I wanted to be present. Um, but yeah, just continuing our quest for network TV. Now we're getting to the end of all of the new fall episodes. So the
Right.
network TV stations have all figured out that we can do fall finales
Ew.
and do cliffhangers, and then we're going to bring it all back in January or February, and that will keep people coming back. But I've wanted to try NCIS Origins, which is the backstory of Jethro Gibbs. And I got to say, after a couple of episodes, the jury is still out, even though
Okay,
I'm an
I'm interested to
NCIS
find out.
junkie. It's different from the other formats. But what's cool about it is that you see the young Gibbs, the young Franks, Mike Franks, the young people that he worked with and how he got started. So I'm going to give it a chance. I
Yeah.
also started watching a series on Prime called Cross, which is based on the James Patterson
Oh,
series
I want to
of
see that.
books that he wrote. So
Yes.
I'm on about number
It's in my
26 in
list.
the series, and it's a police procedural,
Yeah.
but it seems that Alex Cross has a target on his back, and it's not just the random murder suspect, it's serial killers and gruesome stuff and horrible things happening to his family all the time.
Oh my God.
But I love the books. So I'm watching I watch it when my husband's not around because he doesn't think I have good taste in TV, apparently. Um, he sits down and I have an episode on and he looks at me and goes, how can you watch this? Because it's all this evil stuff, very
Yeah.
graphic stuff going on. I can't watch horror movies, but I can watch a police procedural with blood and gore till the cows come home.
Well, because it's not all about the blood and gores. There's questions.
No,
They're
it's
asking
character
questions.
driven.
It's not just somebody chopped the head off with a chainsaw. You know, if somebody chopped the head
Sorry.
off with a chainsaw, we're trying to find out who it is.
Well, for me, it's, I've read 26, I guess, books with this same
Oh
character,
my
his
goodness.
family, his partner, all of that stuff. And I, know these
Right.
characters. So my interest in watching it is to see how they bring these characters to life. And I'll be darned if they're not doing just a great job.
Oh, that's
So
cool.
he can just walk out of the room. I'm gonna watch it. So anyway, that's what I've been watching. Yes, Dawn, I've been watching Christmas movies as well. We watched not enough yet. Santa Claus the movie with Dudley Moore. We have on our docket Elf, Polar Express, Miracle on 34th Street, The Christmas Story, uh, Christmas Vacation. We have a lot of movie watching to happen in the next few weeks, right?
Us
All right.
too.
What about you, Biz?
Um, for me, for watching, it's been a lot of football and a lot.
That too.
Um, so Tony is a football addict. So whenever the live games are on, we're watching it. Um, I haven't really been watching a lot of TV in the afternoons, but when I do, what have I been watching? A lot of like random movies, and I can't remember what any of them are. Have you watched Criminal Minds? Yes, we actually watched
Yes,
the show a
from
couple
start to
years ago.
finish.
Yeah, we've binged that one. That's a good show too.
I love those characters.
But Cross is in my to watch list, so I might have to break that one out. But like we're finishing up Survivor, and we're finishing up Ink Masters, and we're finishing up the Great British Bake Off, and I mean, like we're finishing up all of our reality TV shows that we're into. And a lot of times that's all we watch together is because that's kind of all we can agree on together. My husband is definitely not the same kind of movie watcher I am. I will literally, there's nights when I don't care what we watch, and he's all cranky and stuff. I'm like, fine, you're gonna leave it,
And
you're gonna leave it completely up to me. Watch out, buddy. And I will just go and I'll click and click and click until I go, okay, this is the one. I have no idea what it is. It's usually really, really stupid. And I'm like, we're having stupid movie night. And that's just all there is to it. Because if you're not going to have an opinion, you're watching what I watch.
yeah, and if you're going to play backgammon on your phone while the TV is on, you have no choice. Just whatever I choose, that's what you're kind of watching. So that's what happens every evening is I choose something and I've trained him not to say anything about it.
That's right. You have no opinion. You can't have an opinion after you've already said you don't have an opinion. So we're moving right along.
Exactly. All right. Fabulous.
That's what 30 years of marriage does. So, she says I stopped watching Criminal Mind Evolution. Is that like a reboot?
That's the latest one, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think that's the latest one.
Either.
I haven't watched that one, so I lied when I said start to finish. But
so we watched the original, not
yeah.
the stuff too.
I haven't watched that one because I think it's on Paramount Plus only, and I don't have that streaming service.
Yeah, I think what I didn't care for was, like the characters were just super aggressive in their roles. It just seemed like they were trying really, really hard to go back to what they had when the show stopped. And sometimes you can't do that. So, but other than that, yeah, Christmas movies, I have the whole list to get through. I think I've seen a couple of the Rankin Bass cartoon ones because of the baby. Because Maisie's in the house,
right.
So we've watched a couple of those. But other than that, I haven't had the chance to watch anything. But so my son's coming over. He texted me the other day. He's like, "Hey, Mom, you ready to watch Godzilla -1 or +1 or something like that?" And I'm like, "Yes." So guess what I'm watching tomorrow is Godzilla. It's on Netflix and it's either -1 or +1 or something like that. But that's and burgers and Godzilla tomorrow.
Oh gosh, that sounds so Christmassy.
Isn't it just? So, All right,
Oh,
blessings. I am
Lordy.
starting to shiver from the inside out. My house is so cold. I've got to go get some more clothes on. So we are gonna let y'all go and have an amazing weekend. Only 2, 3, what, 2, 1 week and a
Less
half.
than 2 weeks till Christmas, and I think Hanukkah is around the same time, if I'm not mistaken, and
Jenny,
Kwanzaa and all of the other stuff that happens around the holidays.
is it on
Excuse me.
Let's look and see when Hanukkah happens. It is, yes, Hanukkah begins on Christmas Day. Kwanzaa
Wow.
Day after.
Yep.
And so yeah, it's gonna be a busy time, people. And it's
Lots of holidays.
December, it takes forever to get here, and it flies by so stinking fast because it's so full.
Yep.
And as we were talking,
Absolutely.
I was actually thinking about how January, everybody fusses and complains. They're like, this month is like 457 days long. It feels
I love January.
Ever.
I'm one of the only people I know who loves January. I love January. It's like time stops.
It
You know?
does.
Oh, blessed
We're almost
peace.
going backwards because there's
I
nothing.
love it.
Nothing.
I love it. So bring it.
All right. And with that, you guys have an amazing weekend. If you're doing anything fun, give a shout out and we will party with you. All right.
Yep.
Take care and stay stress free.
Yes. Bye, everybody.